Welcome back to Musicians Edition. Today we're going to start looking at Essential Elements, which is one of the popular beginning band books for percussionists. Looks something like this. So today we're going to actually start with number 21, okay? Now in number 21 we start using a different type of stroke than kind of where we have started in this book, okay? So that stroke type that we're talking about is what we call a multiple bounce stroke. And you see in the little yellow box above, there's kind of an explanation as to what exactly a multiple bounce stroke is. But the main thing we need to know is that, like, when any other stroke type that we play, we bounce the stick one time, we hear one sound, right? When we multiple bounce, we want to hear the stick bounce multiple times, right? That can be as few as 2. Right? Or it can be as many as, however many you can get. Right? So a good little exercise to do with these is to try to get different numbers of bounces. You can just play a little game with yourself. Like, I'm going to try to only get 2 bounces. So you do this a few times. Yeah? And you might find that is challenging. You might find that that's impossible for you right now, but something to work toward, right? Or you might find that it comes pretty easily, right? So then you can start to vary that. And you think, okay, now I'm going to try to get 3 bounces. Right? That kind of thing. And then you can go all the way to what we call a dead stroke, right? Where you're basically getting a few bounces really, really fast, all crushed together, right? And then you can get kind of somewhere in between where the stick's bouncing kind of a few times, more than 2 or 3, but you're not crushing it like you are in a dead stroke. And we've kind of gone over that before in our videos on rolls. So if you want to kind of take a deeper dive into multiple bounce strokes, feel free to check out those videos. So what we see here at number 21, we're just concerning ourselves with the snare drum line, right, which is the top notes. The bottom notes would be played by the bass drummer, okay, which we're not going to worry about that today. All right. So you see in the first measure we have 4 quarter notes, right? So we count those as 1, 2, 3, 4, and as we count that, we're gonna multiple bounce each hand, right? Or a buzz stroke on each hand, right? So it looks something like this in the first measure. 1, okay, thinking 1, 2, 3, 4 as we do that. Okay. Now in the next measure, we have 4 quarter notes that are not buzz strokes. Okay, so these are just regular old single strokes like you've been playing earlier in this book. Okay? So now the tricky part is to go back and forth from multiple bounce strokes to single strokes. Okay? So it looks something like this in the first 2 measures of this piece. Okay? So as you're practicing this, I want you to really try to notice what your hands feel like, what the sticks feel like in your hands as you're getting multiple bounces or not multiple bounces, right? What does it feel like when I'm playing single strokes? What does it feel like when I'm playing multiple bounce strokes? Okay? Okay, so we multiple bounce for a measure, single stroke for a measure, multiple bounce for a measure, single stroke for a measure, multiple bounce for one more measure, and then 2 half notes to finish it out. Now remember, half notes get 2 beats, right? So they're going to last twice as long as all the quarter notes we're playing before, right? So when we get to the half notes, we're thinking 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? All right, so let's try this thing from the beginning. Ready? Make sure you count the whole way, right? Always saying 1, 2, 3, 4 in your head. And we are going to take the repeat. You notice the repeat sign at the end. We're going to repeat all the way back to the beginning and play it again. So 2 times through all the way. Okay? So here we go. 1, 2, 3, and... Okay, so let's try that again, and we'll go a little bit faster this time. And one thing that I want to start thinking about as we go faster and faster on this piece is trying to make your multiple bounces last until the next one starts, right? Which is going to build itself into a roll down the road, okay? So we're trying to make one multiple bounce continue to bounce until the other hand starts to bounce. That way there's not really a break in the sound, right? So when I played it the first time, you notice there's space between the notes, right? Right? What we want to work up to is being able to play it without space between the notes. Okay? Going a little bit faster will help because the buzzes don't have to last as long in order to touch the next one. But you just mostly use your ears to make one and let your hands make the adjustments to make one note last until the next note starts, okay? So let's try that this time as we play it with a slightly faster tempo, okay? Here we go. 1, 2, and ready, go. Okay? Now, if you're really comfortable with it, let's take a nice quick tempo, okay? Here we go. And a 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, now that takes a long time to get comfortable with, right? So don't get frustrated if it feels really awkward right now to try to play those multiple bounces, right? The important part is that you work on it every single day and you practice consistently, and over time it'll become more and more natural, and then you won't have to, then you won't struggle with it so much. All right. So happy practicing, and I will see you next time.